Well, I just connected the drone to the Betaflight. So first, what I want to do, I want to place it on the flat surface, and then I will hit to calibrate the accelerometer. It is done. And now what we have to do, we have to go to the ports 2 and then activate RX serial UART 3. This bit here should be activated. It is for definitely for S-Bus. I'm not sure for DSM or PPM, but I think it's going to be number 2 for DSM, and for PPM it's going to be number 3 as well. And after that we would need to hit save and reboot. Done. Then we go to configurations. We have to choose the ESCs. In my case, the ESCs are one shot 125. Then, if you do remember, the flight controller should be changed. The yaw degrees should be changed to I think 180 degrees, right? Let's change it to 180 degrees. All right, 180 degrees. Let's hit save and reboot. And you may ask why 280 degrees, because from the last time you remember that I had some troubles placing the top canopy, top parts on this frame, because I didn't have enough space. So I decided to change the front and the back. So the arrow here shows that this is the front, but actually now my front is here and this is rear. That way I did change the degrees to 180 degrees. Then we have to choose our receiver type. So SpecSat, most of the time it's going to be SpecSat S-Bus, and then here my receiver is S-Bus. If your receiver is PPM, I think it's going to be a Spectrum 1024, and DSM, it depends on DSM, but some of DSM is going to be 1024, or some of DSM is going to be a 2048. So mine is S-Bus, and then we can hit save and reboot. Is done. Then we go to receiver. Here I have to choose probably, I think it's going to be default. Press enter. Now what I can do, I can plug the battery. Obviously you have to remove the propellers. No way you do it with the propellers. I plug the battery. And then I will use my old good radio link 8010. I have a signal. The signal is here, you can see. And now I can use the sticks, move the sticks and see and do the respond in the right way. And all sticks do. In case you have some troubles with your sticks, just you will probably have to change channel map. So sometimes you have them Futaba and then you have GR Spectrum. So probably for DSM receivers you'll need to use GR Spectrum and then hit save. So it is done. As you can see, throttle, yaw, pitch and roll. Then we have to go to modes, and I have already chosen and the way you can see your auxiliaries, the number of auxiliaries, what you can do here, you can just come here to this bit here and move and move your switches and see which one is switch, and then you can use your radio and change them. So this is the easiest way. When you just come here and, for example, you move one of this auxiliaries here, so you can see which one is which. Pretty easy. All right, so I do have here arming. I decided to use air mode just in case, so in case I want I can activate that. And I have here obviously self-leveling and angle mode. I will not use horizon because normally I fly in angle mode. And now the last part is here, and the last part is about the motors. So what we have to do now, we have to switch off the radio and remove the battery. And then we have to calibrate the ESC. So what we do, we hit here, obviously it says motor test notice, moving the slide will cause a more spin. I understand the propellers are removed. Obviously we have removed our propellers. Then what we do after that, we'll use master and we'll put it to the maximum. All right, and now the ESCs were calibrated. How to calibrate ESCs? Again, you may have different ESCs. What you can do, you can always relate to the manual, and there should be a section called ESC calibration, and it should explain about all these sounds, when to move the stick down and up. Oh, sorry, when to move the throttle down in order to calibrate the ESCs. So the ESCs now are calibrated, and I believe so that now I can try to fix my receiver. I think I'll fix it just on the flight controller here, and then I'll add the propellers blades and try to do a hoover test just to see how it hovers. Well, before you go any further as well, I would suggest you to disconnect it from the Betaflight when you're done with your settings, and then without the propellers, turn on the motors. So obviously you can use you can plug the battery and use your radio and see which direction the motors are spinning. In case that spinning wrong direction, you can always resolder two of the motor wires, and it will change the spinning direction. I'm ready for the flight test, for the hover test. Seems all good. And before I go any further and finish up building this drone, just a few things to mention here. First thing, that when I first tried to check the motors, so I found that all motors were spinning wrong direction. So I end up unsoldering all the motors and changing the direction of the flight controller and ESCs. So eventually I had this adjustment on the Betaflight, and I changed it from 180 degrees to 0. Another thing to mention here, that these propellers here, they do not really suit this drone. I think they are too small and they are too fragile. This type of propellers break very easily. So I think yesterday I ordered propellers from Walkera. They are bigger, they're 3-winged, and they're very flexible. And another thing is that when I was trying to test the motors, some of the motors were spinning nicely, and two of them, they didn't want to spin freely. So eventually I was trying to troubleshoot, and I found that these pins here, the motor pins here, were catching the walls of the hull, and that way it didn't want to spin. So guys, if you build something small, tiny like this, then you'll have to pay attention to this motor pins here, and probably you'll have to adjust one or two motors a little bit, so when the motor spins, the pin doesn't catch the wall. So that was another problem which I found and fixed pretty fast. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time then.